It's that time of week again. It's travel day, meaning all the different teams are throwing everything in their respective trucks and shipping out towards the second venue on the World Cup circuit, which is Leogang. We were lucky enough to get our truck back from the mechanic before everything had to be packed up, so everyone seems to be in pretty good spirits.
The travel days between races are actually really nice because they're the calmest day of the week and we just get to go on a beautiful drive through the Alps. So, headed to Leogang.
So the Swiss border police just checked the truck. He was very happy. Jules is inside doing the paperwork, but I think we're all good. Off we go! Jules is in the driver's seat now. Toot toot!
Well, we made it to Leogang. It was a pretty smooth travel for everybody, which is great for us, but it also means it was a pretty uneventful day. So I think we're just gonna do a quick little Q&A with Jordi, just addressing questions that we see frequently in the comments or questions from previous videos. And I think we're gonna do this more moving forward if we have slow days or travel days. So if there's any questions that you want answered or things that you're curious about, leave those in the comments. We're always going through that and hopefully we can address those in future videos. Now that the first race is done with the new format, what do you think about it?
I liked the format. It made for junior racing on Thursday, so Thursday was busy, and then you had a brief break Friday to get some work done, and then all day Saturday was downhill racing. So while I think it's a little bit frantic, and I think the course could have used a little bit of safety prevention there, it was a bit sketchy. High consequence for injured riders, as we saw. That I do like the two race format. Obviously I'm not racing, but I thought it was cool. I thought the spectators got a whole lot more racing, and it made it a little more interesting to watch riders try to navigate that two-run format. Kind of brought another element in.
Potentially our most frequently asked question of all time: do you do much suspension setup with cross-country riders?
We do not. Not for lack of trying, but for lack of interest. Maybe we get 2 people per weekend. Unfortunately, most of them are just not interested.
We get a lot of questions about telemetry. Do you guys use telemetry at all, or how does that come into play?
Well, telemetry isn't really a thing. What you see on bikes is data acquisition, but do we use data acquisition? Yeah, that has been asked a lot. We do use it. We use it in developing product, and we use it in helping people develop bikes, but we do not use it at races. We don't have time for that stuff. It's incredibly detail intensive process. Takes a long time to really sort through information. If other teams are up to speed with it and are using it themselves, we will help them interpret data, and we can use some of that to help set up bikes. But in my point of view, if you're at a race on a bike that you've been riding and you're still using data to set it up, there's probably more productive things to be doing.
Do you have any memorable mistakes or lessons learned at a race?
Yeah, one time I lost the keys to my rental car and it was in the pit space and they had to tow it.
Oh.
In Italy.
Oh.
And I rented it in France and they wouldn't send me a new key. So don't lose the keys to your rental car. That's a life lesson. That was such a nightmare. I mean, I've made countless mistakes at races, especially when you're starting out and you're learning and you still think that every new thing that you learn is the end all be all, and you start trying to implement it on everybody, and then little by little you learn that you can't fit everybody into the same little box, or that what you thought was right was completely wrong anyway. So as far as specific things that I've done wrong, like, I've never caused anybody to crash or like put something together incorrectly. I have definitely exploded air springs because I didn't let air out of forks, put holes in the tent a couple times. I've blown shocks up. I forgot to put the little circlip in when you're vacuum bleeding it, and then when it goes to pump all the oil back in, it just shoots it all over the room. I hired Pete. That was a mistake. I don't have any big ones though. Like, I've never done anything incredibly stupid like put the wrong shock on a bike.
Nice.
Or put forks on backwards.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's say you get a brand new bike, or you buy a used bike. Mm-hmm. What's like the basic order of operations to get it ready for the first ride, suspension wise?
I guess we're assuming that this suspension is in good working order. If it's not, then that's the first. Get it serviced. Because otherwise, anything you do is going to be kind of pointless. Second thing is set your sag. Sag, 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 sag. Do it right. There's tons of videos on how to set sag. We've done stuff on how to set sag. We've explained sag. Do your research. It's not hard. The third thing, generally I go with rebound. Just do a parking lot rebound test, which we've also explained many times. Then you can go to compression, and then you start riding it, and then you can go to volume spacers after that, or change of coil spring. That's the order. Sag is number one.
How often do you try the placebo effect with riders you're tuning with? Placebo meaning you're telling them you've been adjusting something when you actually haven't, to see if it's all on their head. Does this benefit it to you at all?
Never. Like, I would not violate trust that way. If you can't communicate with a rider, then you just shouldn't. You just tell them you can't help them.
I want to hear Jordi's life story. Any special childhood/teenage moments that made him become so cool and awesome?
Did you ask this question, Shaver? I can't tell my life story in a question and answer thing.
Well, what was the moment as a teenager that made you so cool?
I think I went from my bowl cut to actually going to a hair cutter. Like, I stopped letting my mom cut my hair. That was a big step. So that was like college. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of rapid fire, so let this kick off rapid fire.
Okay.
What's the weirdest trail trash you've ever found?
Oh, I mean, I found a few different sex toys, bongs. That's not weird, that's just Santa Cruz. That's that ride in Slovenia where you opened that little trapdoor and there was all the booze in there.
Oh, yeah.
that was kind of on purpose, but that was pretty cool.
Roots or rocks?
Damn, and this is rapid fire? Roots, because it means there's probably trees. Trees generally make loam better than rocks.
Biggest trail pet peeve?
Bluetooth speakers.
Best riding in Santa Cruz?
Nowhere. It's all illegal. Beat it.
Backpack or bum bag?
Backpack. All day.
Gloves or no gloves?
Gloves.
If you had to live at any World Cup venue for 5 years.
Whoa. That's brutal. Are there any of them that aren't under snow in the winter? I'm short-circuiting. This is really hard. Maribor kind of has the best riding, but it is the worst for everything else. Maybe the least snow too, and it's close to Ljubljana and amazing riding. Would I really pick Maribor? It's not going to be Lenzerheide. It is not going to be Mont Saint Anne because I would get lost again. It is not going to be Snowshoe. Fort William. Fort William, you have a town, you have a good grocery store. You can't stay in the venue because there's nowhere to stay. Andorra, there's a lot of people around. I don't know. I don't like the town that much, but other people love it. Maybe you get used to it and kind of turns into something. There's so many people living there. I kind of speak the language sometimes on a good day. I mean, Greg lives there, which sucks. But he's probably gone in the winter. All right, I'm picking Andorra.
ABBA or Elton John?
Elton John. I mean, that was cool, but what did they really do?
Just like last week, we don't really know what this week's gonna look like with Enduro happening here at the same time as the downhill race. But what I do know is that it's great to be back in Leogang, such a beautiful location. So we'll see you tomorrow.